All right, let's jump right in. We're talking about a hormone today that, let's be honest, pretty much everyone thinks they already know inside and out. But what if I told you we're going to peel back the layers on testosterone and find out its real job, the one that's way more important for your health?
So let me ask you a question. When you hear that word testosterone, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Probably big muscles, right? Maybe aggression, a deep voice? Well, I want you to take that mental image and get ready to flip it completely upside down.
Look, it's not that those things are totally wrong. It does play a role there. But its most critical job, the one that really matters, it has almost nothing to do with any of that. It's like we've all been peeking at this hormone through a tiny keyhole, but today we're going to throw the doors wide open.
And this is the whole point. This is the big idea for today's explainer, right here. I need you to forget everything you thought you knew because testosterone is actually a master metabolic messenger. Think of it like a central command, sending out critical signals to, well, pretty much your entire body.
So, how in the world does it do all that? How does it wear so many different hats? Well, it all comes down to its secret identity, or, more accurately, its two secret identities.
Okay, so this is where it gets really cool. The secret to its power is that it doesn't just knock on one door to get its message across. Nope, it has a master key. It uses two totally different pathways to talk to your cells, and that's what makes it such a powerhouse metabolic regulator.
And this breaks it down perfectly. On one hand, you've got the direct action. Testosterone just acts like, well, testosterone, using what are called androgen receptors. But check this out. It can also pull a switcheroo. It can convert into estradiol, which is a type of estrogen, and use a completely separate set of estrogen receptors. This is the part you absolutely have to get. For your metabolism to be healthy, you need both of these pathways firing on all cylinders. It's a team effort for everybody.
All right, so now that we know about its dual-action superpower, let's go on a quick tour through the body. We're going to see just how this master messenger keeps the whole system humming along. And trust me, this is seriously impressive. First stop, the heart. There's this old myth that just won't die, that testosterone is cardiotoxic, basically bad for your heart. But the science? It shows the exact opposite. It actually helps your arteries chill out and improves blood flow. Plus, it actively fights against the buildup of that nasty plaque. So bottom line, it's a major protector for your heart.
Next up, your liver. Think of it as the body's main cholesterol factory. Testosterone is a key manager in this factory. It helps the liver clear out the bad LDL cholesterol and those triglycerides that can gum up the works. So it makes sense, right? When testosterone levels dip, that whole process gets sluggish, and your risk for all sorts of lipid problems just skyrockets.
Okay, let's talk blood sugar. Testosterone is a huge player here. It's not just that it helps your pancreas get insulin out the door efficiently. It also acts like a bodyguard for the very cells, the beta cells, that make the insulin in the first place. And this is exactly why low levels are a massive risk factor for insulin resistance, which, as you know, is the first step on the road to type 2 diabetes.
And here's a job you probably haven't heard about. Testosterone is a powerful anti-inflammatory agent. All over the body. It really helps to put out the fires of metabolic stress and inflammation that are the root cause of so many chronic diseases.
And here we go again. Check it out. That 2-for-1 special is back at work, this time in your bones. The androgen path helps build new bone, while the estrogen path puts the brakes on bone breakdown. You absolutely need both sides of that coin for strong, healthy bones. It's a huge piece of the puzzle for preventing osteoporosis.
So what about fat? And I don't just mean the stuff you can pinch. I'm talking about that really dangerous stuff, the visceral fat that's packed in around your organs. Low testosterone is basically a green light for your body to store more of this dangerous fat, and that's a one-way ticket to metabolic syndrome. So yeah, keeping those levels healthy is absolutely key to fighting that belly fat.
And finally, we get to muscle. This is the one everybody knows about, but there's a metabolic secret here. So yes, of course it builds muscle. But the reason that's so important for your metabolism is that it also supercharges your mitochondria, the little power plants inside your cells. This just makes you an incredible engine for burning both fat and glucose for fuel, and that's exactly why feeling wiped out all the time is such a classic sign of low T.
So after that whirlwind tour, it should be pretty obvious, right? We've been looking at this hormone completely wrong. This is not a guy thing. This is a human thing.
Let's just put it out there, plain and simple. Testosterone is a key, sex-neutral metabolic hormone. End of story. Its job as that master messenger is every bit as critical for women's health as it is for men's.
Now, for women, it's all about balance. It's a real balancing act. See, when levels are in that sweet spot, the whole metabolic system just purrs along. But if they creep too high, you can run into issues like PCOS. And if they drop too low, you start seeing all those same metabolic problems we've been talking about. The goal is always that healthy, happy middle ground.
So where does that leave us? What does all this actually mean for how we think about our own health? Well, it's a huge shift in perspective, a total game changer.
If there's one thing you take away from this, it's this. We have got to stop putting testosterone in a little box labeled sex hormone. Low T isn't just about libido or making babies. That's a dangerously small way of looking at it.
What this really means is that we need to completely reclassify it. We have to. Testosterone deficiency isn't a reproductive issue. It is a cardiometabolic disorder. It belongs right alongside things like insulin resistance and high cholesterol. It's that serious.
And this has massive real-world consequences for doctors and for patients. It means that if you or someone you know is struggling with stubborn belly fat or sarcopenia, that's just muscle loss as we get older, or insulin resistance, a fatty liver, or even thinning bones, testosterone has to be on the checklist. It's a foundational piece of the entire metabolic puzzle.
And that really leaves us with one last big question to chew on. Testosterone is the perfect example of what happens when we look past the easy, obvious labels and find a much deeper truth about how our bodies actually work. It just makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other master messengers are we completely overlooking right now?